Mike 0, Yankee Charlie Queen, Whiskey 9 Echo Echo Echo. Okay, very good. Yeah, the local dairy industry. We don't have much here. We're mostly highland farms, mostly corn and soybeans, although there's a scattering of wheat and not much else. Very, very few oats. We do have a few local dairies that are small. There is one that's I'm about 45 kilometers west of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And there's one on the west side of Fort Wayne that does agritourism, and they're very advanced. They have all automated German milking machines that come in and automatically monitor the cows and automatically sterilize them and attach the milking and, monitor the milk production and the cows' vital signs. And so it's really quite an operation, and it's amazing to see how some of the technology has affected the dairy industry. But we do have horses here, and we had some goats, but unfortunately they passed away. They were pygmies. Lived a long lifetime, about 18 and a half years, which for goats is really, really a long time. And we do raise our own hay on the property for the animals, so we're familiar with some of it. So are you on the Hustler vertical at the moment? Over? Okay, Steve, real good. Yeah, the name is Richard. Romeo, India, Charlie, Hotel, Able, Roger, Delta. Typically English name, but I'm not English. Anyhow, very good. And so are you running 100 watts at the moment? Okay, very good, Stephen. Yeah, you're hanging in there between about a 5.3 and occasionally up to a 5.4. How are you receiving me at that end? Did you say 5.6? Oh. Yeah, I'm in the northeastern part. We are about 100 kilometers south of Michigan and probably about 70 kilometers west of Ohio in the northeastern part of the state. Over. Yeah, very good, Steve. I lost it. The QS Baker got you. You said you're going where? Say one more time. No, negative. I'm starting to lose you. As you've been in dark for a little bit. So if you had a little more power, I'd have you. But it's getting iffy. So I'll say 73s while you still can hear me. Thank you very much for the call from Shropshire. And hopefully we'll work again. Glad to be able to work you on the portable setup there on the picnic bench. Mike 0, Yankee Charlie Queen from Whiskey 9 Echo Echo Echo.
Oscar November 8 Echo India.
Yeah, Oscar November 8 Echo India. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening from Belgium, and good day to you, Richard. Whiskey 9 Echo Echo Echo. Oscar November 8 Echo India. Name is John, and last seen you were 10 over 9, Richard. Over.
Okay, John. Thanks for the 10 over 9 here. You're about 53 to 54 with me. I should be relatively pointed at you. I'm about 40 degrees heading, so you might be 5 degrees north, but it's close enough. I'm not going to worry about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Okay, well, hang on. I'm just looking. I'm looking at my amp, and I'm amazed. I'm only on 20 watts. Over.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll copy you on 20 watts. I'd probably copy you on 5 watts with this setup. Over.
Yeah, okay. I think this should change things. Over.
Oh, yeah. You're a good 5.8 to 5.9 now. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. I have a buffer, and I have 2 radios, and I hadn't the buffer engaged for this radio. Over.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I keep, I've got a Yaesu FTDX10 here, and I keep 2 amplifiers on it, but mostly on the upper bands, I just use my old Heathkit Studebaker 220 because I'm so used to tuning it. It's amazingly fast. And my other one is a Commander, which has a little more headroom, but it's much more difficult to tune, so I usually just keep it on this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Well, I have an SP200, but I've never used it. I turn it on from time to time. I picked it up from a guy that was, he was kind of downsizing, and I really have to get a decent dummy load to play around with it. Over.
Well, either that or just go up at nighttime on 10 and 15 when there's nobody there and try it out. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Well, that's also a good idea. Yeah, it looks to be like, all Heathkits, as you know. But, I have to give it... I use solid-state amps normally, and I'm kind of a bit nervous. Over.
Well, don't be nervous about it. The biggest thing you have to check is in the generation that those were made, they were made to key the relays at high voltages. So you need to make sure that somebody's put an isolation circuit in it for solid state keying so you don't fry your rig. So that's the first thing I check is to see whether it has that mod. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Well, the other alternative, what I can do, Richard, I have a 101ZD, and I could use it in combination with that. Over.
Oh, that sounds even better. It is the generation that was made to work with that. So, yeah, put it on the ZD. And here's the thing that I do with mine that I found over the years is, don't tune it at, those amps. When the amps were made, the FCC on this side had a limit. They would only let the amplifiers get about a 10-to-1 ratio of gain. So, and at that time, we were limited to 1,000 watts of input power. And so you could only feed them with 100 watts of power. So they were all designed for 100 amps coming in to get maximum output. But they will tune on less. And I find, like on my 220 here, that tuning it at 17 watts is about perfect. It's just enough to see all the dips, but it's not enough to really drive it significantly if it's out of resonance. And if you start with with the what I want to say with the tune with where in approximate band positions, and you kind of put the load kind of up halfway, and then you go ahead and put it in the well, let me ask you, do you have a separate watt meter over?
Yes, I do. Over.
Yeah, the thing about it is just go ahead and put the indicator on the amp in the grid current position, and just make sure you don't get like above 150 milliamps of grid current or so. I'd have to look at what it is for those 872s, or maybe it's 400 milliamps. So just make sure you stay absolutely under that. And if you've got your watt meter, just dip the tune for minimum plate ampers with the tune control. And then when you're done with that, peak the load control for maximum output on your RF meter. And then go back and repeat the process a couple times, and then just kind of note down approximately on the numbers where the load control is for the different bands. And, if you've been keeping it where you fire it up where the electrolytics are good, as long as you do that, you're not going to hurt anything. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Well, I'll look at that in the weekend. Well, thank you for your encouragement. And they have that thing. I don't know if I have it, and I wouldn't know how I would. That soft start. Over.
Yeah, well, there's companies that market that. I know. I don't remember if Harbach Electronics was one company here in the U.S. that would do that. And they have that soft start mod. It works relatively well. This amplifier has it. I went through it a couple times. I built it with my dad when I was a kid. I must have been about 16 or 17, and unfortunately, Dad's been silent key for about 29 years now. And it had the high voltage relays on it on the relay circuit. So we put the soft start mod in it, and then this one, of course, uses different tubes. It uses a 3500Z, so we put an inrush current limiting on it, and we put a fuse in the center tap of the transformer for protection, and I upgraded the fan on it, and we put in meter protection circuits on it and VHF parasitic protection on it. And there's on the 220s, there's a problem where the Zener diodes have a Mylar washer and that can short, so we revamped that location of the position, and I changed all the electrolytic capacitors out to computer grade and changed all the bleeder resistors to a slightly higher value. So she just ticks along. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. I've no idea what this guy did. I didn't even meet him because someone was selling it for him. He was someone that, as I said, he was downsizing and going to live in an apartment. Over.
Okay, very good. Yeah, and the gain on those old amps is not as much on 10, 15 as it is on 20 and 40. So I'd probably start out, probably at 40 meters. And just give yourself a lower drive position and just look at the manual, see what they recommend for peak grid current, and just dip your tune for minimum plate amperes and peak your load. And if you start out with the drive being down into a fairly resonant antenna, you should be fine.
Yeah, Roger. The only thing is I've got. I'm using an Anand 7000, and I also have a Hermes Light, and I've got totally used to the noise reduction, where listening to you is like listening to FM radio. Over.
Yeah, but it's fun to go back to the old days when you don't have that kind of fun. Ironically, I don't use my noise reduction that much. I do have DNR here on the FDDX10, but I'm blessed with good antennas, and usually if I just back the RF gain back, everything goes away. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger, I looked at your antennas on QRZ. Just a quick rundown, and then I'll let you work a few more. I've got a an opti beam. It's a very small one. It's I think it's like something like a 5-meter boom with 10 elements, and on this band it's 2 active elements. It's 14 meters above the ground, and works very well. Over.
Okay, very good. Yeah, this one is 23 meters up and with about a 9 meter boom and 5 active elements, so it smooths out the SWR curve nicely. It originally was smaller, and I added a third director and additional 8 feet of boom length around 15 years ago, and it really helped on the receive and smoothing things out. So I've been happy with the improvement. But the opti beams are super antennas and very well designed. Certainly rugged as well. Over.
Yeah. Now the only thing is, people say, and it's probably true, that a round boom is stronger than a square one. Over.
Yeah, that may be true. It's hard to beat the the stresses you can take with a circle. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah. Anyway, well, listen, great to speak with you. I believe it's for the first time, but sounding great in Belgium. Over.
Yeah, very good, John. Yeah, you're armchair copy, like you say. You're like FM. So even though I guess it's been dark there for what, an hour or two?
Yes. I'm looking up now. Yes, it has. Yeah, and getting lighter every day. Over.
Yeah, I know. We like that too. We're like you. We're farther north, so we gain about a minute and a half a day. So in a month, we gain 45 minutes. So from the solstice to the other part, we gain a good almost 4 hours of daylight from winter till summer. And here we have daylight savings time, which of course pushes it later. So in the summertime here, at the end of June, it's light till almost 9:45 at night. Over.
Yep, Roger, sounds good. Now I'm going to say one more thing about. I believe you're in, and I can't remember the state. Just remind me the state. Over.
I'm in Indiana, the northern part of Indiana. Over.
Yeah, well, of course they have that famous song "Gary, Indiana," but the other part of Indiana that brings back happy memories was I bought my first, Sirius radio. Well, it was for me, and it was the FT757GX, and I bought it from Ham Radio Outlet in Evansville. Over.
Yeah, very good. I don't think they're down there anymore. I think they closed that store because I don't think we have one in Indiana, unfortunately. But there's a few in Ohio, so you can drive east and get some stuff. But yeah, very good. And I had same generation. I had a Yaesu FT767, and I love that radio. That was the one that was like the 757, but it had the slots in it, so you could put modules for 6 meters, 2 meters, and 440 and work all modes. Only 10 watts on the modules, but that radio had the best SWR protection foldbacks of any rig I've ever had. You could load it from a short to an open, and it would just cut it back and kind of smile at you. Go ahead.
Yeah, sounds great. The other one that a pal of mine had, and that was more or less a previous generation, was the 707. Over.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, that was, unfortunately, we got a near lightning strike that came in on the AC neutral, and it wiped out everything in the house that I was in at the time. Literally everything, control boards for furnaces, and there wasn't a motor or a light, it was gone. I didn't charge the insurance company to do anything, but it blew out ground faults, it blew out everything. It was over $8,500 of destruction. Go ahead.
Oh, that sounds painful. Did you shed any tears? Over?
No, I just worked it. I came in one night and everything was off, and I had a house that had a driveway, and there was brick pillars that I had put in underground lighting for, and ground faults, and all those were destroyed, and the ground faults in my outdoor barns were destroyed, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that went. So yeah, everything that literally everything that wasn't a motor or a light was gone. Over.
And there was nothing you could have done to prevent it, over?
Yeah, probably not. I learned from that, and now I've got my shack was on the second floor. Whether or not it came through the house to reach the grounding in the shack, I don't know. On the way to the towers, but I have very religious now single point grounding with. This tower has a UFER ground in it, 9 feet below the surface. And then it has 3 10-foot ground rods on each leg, and then 3 64-foot radials of copper grounding with the radials are a foot and a half below the surface with exothermically welded ground rods, 8-footers that go down to, basically 9 feet, every 16 feet. So there's 15 of them. And then I have a second tower with a similar grounding system, which is tied together. And then everything comes back to a single point ground. And then it's in a junction box with antenna discharge units, including on all the rotor control cables, and then copper strap to the bus bar inside. So, and everything that comes off the tower the shields are grounded at the bulkheads, and then they go up to the switch box, which is grounded. Everything that's being worked, and then they go to the antenna discharge units, and then they go inside to grounded switches. So at this point, I'd have to get through 5 sets of grounding to grab everything now. And now when I disconnect, the shacks have a double pole disconnect, so both the linears and the radios disconnect both sides of the circuit. So everything is gone except for the grounding. But at the present time, considering the grounding is so good, I don't ever disconnect anything. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, it sounds good. And was it the mast that brought the lightning to your house? Over.
I don't know. I don't think so because if that was the case, it wouldn't have gone out to some of the peripheral stuff, and it even got the telephone stuff. And the stuff in the shack had disconnects on the hot side, but not on the neutral. So that's why I think it came in on the neutral. I think it was a near strike on the neutral. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, dreadful. And there's some locations that seem to attract it, and others not. Over.
Yeah, well, it did. Yeah, the top, that shack, which was in southern Michigan, and both of my other shacks here, I've been on kind of little knolls. And so my tower is 72 feet tall, and the mast comes out a little, about 21 feet above that. So it's at 91 feet. And at the top of that was a 2-meter J-pole that was about another 9 to 11 feet tall. And below that was so the top of the tower was at 102 feet in the clear. And then below that was a 19-element 2-meter beam on a 25-foot boom. So, and below that was a 2-element 30, 17, and 12-meter beam, which had 2 38-foot-long elements. And below that was a 5-element 6-meter beam, and then below that was a 4-element tri-bander at 74 feet. So there was a lot in the clear. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger, and I'm just looking at the photo on your QRZ page. I take it that's a 40-meter 2-element above it. Over.
No, it's actually a 2-element work tri-bander. It's 2 elements for 30, 17, and 12.
Oh, okay. Well, very interesting. Yeah, there's a lot going on that mast above the rotor. Over.
Yeah, like I said, it gets up there, and I don't have as much as I did before. I don't have the 6-meter and the 2-meter beams up there, which I did when I was up in Michigan. And I had mass-mounted preamps for low signal receive on 2 meters and 440 for sideband work, which I don't have anymore. I don't have a radio that's capable of it. So yeah, there was a lot going on there, but we got it all fixed up and restored. But after that, I was really, really religious about the lightning protection. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy. I can't remember the state that he was living in, but he was talking about he lives on something like a Hurricane Alley or whatever. and he had given up on beams, and all he has is a multi-band vertical with four beverages going the different directions. Like Europe, Africa, Asia. Over.
Yeah, well, that'll happen. This setup is pretty rugged mechanically. I've had it up, fully extended, I know, through 83, 85, 87, 89, 93, 95, and 97 miles an hour intact. So I haven't quite hit 100 with it, but I never drop it. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's the difference between you and me, because I look at the app. Well, it's not really an app, but it just tells you the expected wind speed, and when it goes above, above 5 and above Beaufort's, I drop it down. Over.
Okay, so yeah, remind me, 5 Brilford is what, about 60?
Well, it could be, but honestly spoken, I never did the conversion. I know 6 is just really is just too much for my blood pressure. Over.
All right, real good. Yeah. So, all right. Now, like I said, I've learned over the years to be more tolerant because it survived it. The mast is actually 6.1 aluminum, and it's 2-inch diameter, but the wall thickness is almost a half an inch. And if it gets 75, 80 miles an hour, the mast will bend over about 15%. But I've never had to take a set. It just, when the wind dies down, it just comes back vertically.
Yeah, sounds great. Just out of curiosity, how many turns on the coil? Over.
Which coil?
Your one. I'm 60. Over.
Oh yeah, I got a decade on you. Over.
Yeah, Roger. Well, you're sounding good. And how do you feel? Over.
I feel good. Yeah, we raise hay here for our horses, and so I still go out and harvest the hay and throw 60 to 100 hay bales in a day.
Yeah, Roger, you sound fit. Yeah, I cycle every day to work. Over.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I need to get out and walk a little more. I keep my upper body strength up, and we walk a lot here because I walk between the barns, and I'm out in the summer, especially if it's a hay harvesting day. I've got to climb up on my tractors, and for high enough, you got to propel yourself up with one knee. And, if something happens, I've got to walk back to them and, straighten things out and climb up into the wagon. So that's my toughest exercise. Go ahead.
Yeah, and speaking about tractors, do you have analog tractors or digital ones? Over.
Oh, mine are all analog. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's the way to go, I have to say. There's a guy I follow on YouTube, and all his stuff is analog, and you can fix it yourself. Over.
Yeah, the newest thing I have is, I guess it's 30 years old. The oldest one I have is 79, and the main ones that I use are, let's see, one's a 73, so it's 52 years old, and one's a 74, it's 51, and the other one is a 78, so it's 47. So they're pretty much about a half a century, but they fire up in a half a second and work perfectly.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, the digital ones really, in general, you can't work on them, and if you do have to get a guy in, it's a telephone number of a bill. Over.
Yeah, well, they all can be difficult, but no, I tell my wife the old iron is also, there's more steel in them, and so if you don't abuse them, you can use them all you want. My larger one is an Alice Chalmers 185 in 1973, which has a 6-cylinder Perkins diesel, about 73 horsepower, and I can take her out. I usually hay at about 1900 RPM, and I can sit on it for 6 hours, and when I come back 6 hours later, the tachometer hasn't moved the setting. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger, sounds great. Yeah, I used to have an old car, but then when the children arrived, I just felt it wasn't safe for the motorway because it didn't have the acceleration. But it had an Isuzu engine, a diesel 1.7, and that one would go forever. except the problem was that the body would give way. Over.
Yeah, a lot of those early Japanese cars didn't have very good rust protection, so that was the issue. O-N-80i, Whiskey 9 Echo Echo Echo.
Yeah, Roger. Okay, W9EEE, O-N-80i. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, Richard. Over.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I like the old iron. So I painted mine all up, and they've all got new tires on them. And like I said, you wouldn't know that they were that old. But we work with antiques here. But that's the only thing that's possible. We just do the ground around the house, which is only about 11 acres. And of course, if you had anything newer, you wouldn't be able to afford it. O-N-80i, Whiskey 9 Echo Echo Echo.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, you're holding up. There's no QSB with you. You're 15 over. You drop down to 10 over, and really doing well. Over.
Yeah, well, I've got an advantage. I'm on a little bit of a knoll here. If I go up from about 100 to 300 meters, the ground drops anywhere from about 2 meters to as much as I want to say 12 to 14. So I think it lowers the elevation angle. So I find that this antenna does extremely well to Europe, but also to other areas. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. And of course, 15 can be lovely and stable. I'm sure you've noticed over your years, you're talking to someone on 10. They're a great signal, and suddenly they disappear. Over.
Yeah, well, that can happen in 15. 15 is more quirky. There's times that 10 is better than 15, and times that 12 is better than 15. But there's times, like you say, that 15 just shines. And there's times on 15 that the skip is thousands of miles long, and you get these tremendous signals. So 15 can be a fantastic DX band, and that includes even in the middle of the night. I'll come up here sometimes between 0100 and 0400 hours and call on 15 meters, and everybody presumes it's dead, but it's often not. Sometimes you get answers and nice signals from anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I set up. I don't know if you're familiar with the Kiwi. Do you know the Kiwi SDRs? Over.
Yeah, I've listened to a couple of them. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Well, I call, and let's say I want to call for VK. I pick a frequency on the radio. I set it up with the receiver in VK, and I see, am I being heard? There's no point in calling when you're not being heard. Over.
Yeah, that's a good use to do it. That along with the beacons, and there's some on 15 meters here on 21,150, and then there's some on 17 meters on 18,109.5. And so I listed to that and the time stations, at 2.55, 10, 15, 20, and 25 megahertz. And the shortwave, and usually between all of the above, you could tell if the bands are open.
Yeah, Roger. Okay, Richard, I'm going to spin the dial and see what else I can pick up. But great speaking with you. Over.
Okay, John. Very good. Yeah, with your amp on, you've been holding consistently S9 in the dark there. So today may be a unusually good day for 15 meters. ON8 Echo India. Have a very good evening. Whiskey 9 Echo Echo Echo.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. Whiskey 9 Echo 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 ON80i. Till the next time, Richard. Over.
73.
Whiskey 9 Echo Echo Echo. This is Echo Alpha 3. Hotel the Uniform Yankee.
Yeah, very good. We worked the other day. EA3HUI. Good to hear you, Albert. Whiskey 9 Echo Echo Echo.
Yes, Richard. I know. I was looking at the band is open and there's nobody but except you and the other one that was he was talking with you. But you are 5 and 9. 5 and 9 solid local and strong and nice signal.
Yeah, you're 5'8", peaking 5'9", so definitely no problems copying you here either, Albert. So I'm looking here. I worked you on 12 the other day. Yeah, and I worked you on one other band. I don't have it up at the moment. But have we worked on 15 before?
No, I think it's the first time. I don't have my PC on, but I think it's the first time. Yeah, I will check it, but